Hi folks, and welcome to this recording on your group assignment. I know that some of you have perhaps been having some challenges in knowing exactly what the requirement is and how to approach it. So I took the advice of one of our students and I decided that it might be a good idea just to do a short video. So hopefully this will help you out. So let me just tell you how I decided to divide it. I haven't had much feedback from students yet, so this is just a preliminary cut at what your issues might be. So I thought maybe I should give you an idea of what you need to consider when you're developing your templates. You have 3 templates to develop, one for each job family. There's also been some discussion on how to communicate within the groups and how to find your group. So I thought maybe I would do a little review of how you should do that. There's also been some discussions. Groups are now talking about how to divide up the work. So maybe I'll review that and give you some ideas and thoughts on what you might be able to do there. I also wanted to show you a sample project. When I teach this course, I do this project and the students do it individually in the classroom. And I thought I would take one of their projects and show you what it would look like, because I think some students might have a tendency to go off on a different tangent because of all of the analytical data in the case, and that's not really where I want you focusing. All right, and then I'm going to go through how you submit the assignment to your Dropbox and Avenue to Learn. So hopefully we've hit most of the things that that might be issues for you. So let's go through. First of all, let's look at the requirement. You're supposed to develop 3 templates for each of the following job families: production workers, admin staff, and technical staff, and explain your decisions. Now, I've told you a maximum of 8 pages, but most students are able to do it within 5 or 6. I just didn't want to limit you in terms of, your line spacing and whatever else, and, I didn't want students getting all concerned about not having enough room or being able to fit it into a less confining number of pages, so I suggested 8 as a maximum, but most students do it within 5 or 6. When you're developing your templates, some of the things I want you to consider are: the compensation system must align with high involvement management, because that's where the company wants to go. They want to invoke a high involvement sort of strategy. So you should be trying to align the job family templates with that in mind. Goals for the new compensation strategy. So they told you in the short case, some of the goals that they might be looking for the system to produce for them. So what you should consider is any current issues or problems that each of the 3 job families are experiencing that you think the compensation strategy that you're developing can address. So you might want to consider things like: are there turnover issues with any of the groups? Are there retention issues? What are the behaviors that are needed? Do you need more citizenship, membership, task behavior? And again, don't worry too much about the financial goals of the overall compensation system. And don't get bogged down with the data, the numeric data, profit margins, all that stuff. You don't really have any control over that because you're only developing a template for 3 job families. You don't know what all the other jobs are in the company. So I wouldn't get too concerned with the financial analysis and using all of that hardcore data, because you're really only looking at 3 job families. Are there any compensation elements that you think all 3 groups should have, and how should they be, or maybe they should be different? So for example, one of the elements we said is that you have to look at in the template is profit sharing. Should they all have profit sharing? Should only one group have profit sharing? What should profit sharing look like? Should it be group profit sharing, individual profit sharing? What would look best? Maybe not all job families are the same, so you want to think about what should be the same and what should be different. The next thing I talk about here is how should the compensation system vary among all 3 families? So should we have base pay determined more by job evaluation, market pricing, or pay for knowledge? Might that be the same? Do you believe that for all 3 job families we should use job evaluation? right? Maybe you don't. Maybe some of them you think they should be market priced. Maybe you're split for base pay among job evaluation, market pricing, and pay for knowledge might be even in one job family, and maybe in the other job family it might be only job evaluation. You might decide for the administrative people, well, you know what, maybe you want to just use job evaluation and market pricing and no pay for knowledge. That's up to your group to decide what you want to do. And again, don't forget, should the strategy for each job family lead the market, lag the market, or match the market? And here's a little hint. Is there any compelling reason that you would have if you want any of them to lead the market? Is there any compelling argument that you can make for leading the market? And again, as I said, I don't want you to get bogged down with the data. Okay, there is a lot of data in the case, but I don't really want you focusing there so much. I think you can do a really great job without your focus being the data. Just getting a feel for how the compensation systems might differ depending on the current issues and problems within each job family, organizationally, and what you think might work best. All right. Now, communicating with group members. I would suggest that you stay within the Avenue to Learn system. Don't forget, part of your mark is given for discussion, okay? So if you go into your small group project area, okay, it's going to describe the collaboration requirement and how we're assessing it, what we're looking for there. So if you start to communicate through Skype, Google Docs, we may miss that. I want to see a little bit of document sharing going on so that I can make sure that the people in the group all did their part or did a part of it, right? If you're going to start document sharing somewhere else, I can't see that, I can't assess it. Some groups have already asked about peer review, peer assessment if somebody doesn't pull their weight. We thought about that before we launched the project and before we created this environment. So that's why we required that you guys stay within the environment at least to meet the minimum requirements of the collaboration requirement. All right. Dividing up the work. Again, that's really up to you guys to decide how you want to divide up the work. I don't want to interfere in your group process. But what I would suggest, and some of you are thinking about doing it already, and if you haven't started the project, that's fine. You might want to have each member focus on a job family and complete a few paragraphs on why they might have selected the template or put together the template they did for that particular job family. So the template and the rationale. One person does it for one job family, one person does those two things for another job family, and the third member does it for another job family. Again, I encourage you to share your work so that somebody makes sure that the project hangs together, right? So you should have somebody proofreading and making sure that when it all goes into one document, that it all kind of hangs together and makes sense. Okay? Now, let's look at a sample assignment. And this is one that was done by a student in my in class. And I didn't exactly like the way she spaced it. It doesn't really look that great. It's a little too crunched. But the idea was here. Starting with, for this particular job family, which I'll name X, she started with the current challenges with the present compensation package as she saw them based on what she saw in the case. She also made recommendations as to what we could do in the area of base pay, performance pay, and indirect pay to move that group to high involvement. All right. She did the same thing for job family Y. She looked at what the current challenges were with the present compensation system for that particular job family and made recommendations toward high involvement regarding base pay, performance pay, and indirect pay. She also told us right up front if she was going to match, lead, or lag the market. So, and she explains all of her decisions and why she chose it, right? And again, she did that for the third job family. So that was her basically 2 pages. She did it in 2 pages. And then she actually did an Excel spreadsheet, which I didn't want them to do, but I would prefer you guys did a Word document, but because I want you to submit one document. Now, you might decide to do your templates in Excel and then copy and paste them into Word, but I only want to look at one document, all right? But 2 pages, that's all you need, and there's not any data in here, right? There's no highfalutin math in here, net profit margins, any of that stuff in here. We don't need that. Okay, we just want a justification for a 50,000 foot level plan. That's what you're doing. What she also submitted is for each job family. Okay, now I blanked them out, but she did the template. She did it in Excel. I don't want it in Excel, but this is what she did. So 100% is the total compensation. She decided that for this particular job family, which shall remain unknown, she was going to allocate 50% to base pay, 30% to performance pay, and 20% to indirect pay. And I would suggest that's the way you start it. Those are the three main areas: base, performance, and indirect pay. Within that 50%, how much is going to make up base pay? She decided partly job evaluation, no market pricing, pay for knowledge. That's okay. What she wrote in the previous 2 pages we saw for that job family better support that, right? That's all we're trying to do. Now, she also decided she wanted to use performance pay. She decided she was going to use an individual performance pay, merit bonus. She also wanted to incorporate group performance pay for her job family, which again, we don't know, right? And for organization performance, she decided she was going to use other, and she described that somewhere in her discussion. Now, for indirect pay, she decided that's going to be 20%. How she was going to split it up? She decided that she would split up her indirect pay 8% to mandatory benefits like CPP, for example, health and life insurance, paid time off, and other benefits. She decided to include tuition reimbursement. That may or may not be appropriate, but that's an example. But you have to make sure that the sub-elements that you select add up to the total for that area. So if you said base pay is 50%, then in this case she has 2 elements that add up to that. That's fine. Performance is 30%, so all the elements within the performance pay should add up to that. You might decide for one of the job families or all of them you just want individual performance pay or all group. It's up to you. But then if it's going to be 30%, I want to know how that 30% is going to split up if you think it should all be group performance pay. Okay? So hopefully that makes a little more sense to you going through that. Okay? And submitting to the Dropbox. Let me go into your course and show you how we do that. You go into assessments, you go into Dropbox. Now, when you do that, this is my view. Because I'm in every group, I'm going to see everything, right? All the groups. You should only see your group for the group assignment. Whoever is volunteered to submit to the group assignment, click the Dropbox. This is just for group 1. Make sure you click Add a File, browse your computer, so you can click My Computer. Now you're going to click Upload. You're going to find your project. So let me just pick something here. I'll pick that document. All right. And now, once I see that it's here and there's no more whirly-burden around here, I can see it's uploaded, then I'm going to click Add, and there's my document. Now, it says here that you must click Submit to complete the submission, so you can click Submit. All right, I'm not going to do that because Group 1 wouldn't be happy about that. But I'm not going to click Submit, but that's what you do to make sure it's in there. And then whoever submitted it will get a confirmation email returned to their email within Avenue to Learn. You will see any email, okay, in your Avenue to Learn course, okay, if you look at your email icon, which is at the top of your screen. Okay, so I think you should be okay submitting. So I'm just going to cancel that. I'm going to say don't submit. Okay. And now, some of you were looking or concerned about finding your groups. there is a tab up at the top called Communication. You may not be able to see it quite here, but hopefully I've adjusted the screen so you can. It says Communication. Go into Groups. All right, now you can see a section for group projects, a section for your groups for weeks 5 to 8, 9 to 12, and group weeks 1 to 4. Okay, so these are your groups for weeks 5 to 8, 9 to 12, and 1 to 4. All right, now you'll notice, say for example, you're in group 1 for weeks 1 to 4. Group 1 had who in it? All these good folks, right? But now, the next group 1 in the next group may be different. This system, the way McMaster wanted it set up, is they wanted people to be changed every 4 weeks. So you will be in different groups discussing your weekly discussion every 4 weeks. However, for the group project, because it's only for a very short period of time, you are staying in the same group and you have 3 members per group. You will only see group project groups. You will only see your group. Your group for week 5 to 8, you should only see your group. Your group for week 9 to 12, you should only see your group. And again, weeks 1 to 4, you should only see your group. So now, let's say, for example, I want to see who's in my group. Say I'm in group 1, say I see group 1 here, and I say, well, who's in my group? Well, I can go in there, and I can see that I have Jennifer, Catherine, and Alexandra in my group. Perfect, right? If I want to email those good folks, I just click email and I can see their email addresses. Okay, so this is their McMaster email. So these addresses here, or these items here, are part of your McMaster email. Okay, so hopefully that answers that question for you. I think most of you know how to post to the board, so you're pretty good there. All right. So I don't think there was anything else. Oh, actually, yeah, I did show you how to submit to the Dropbox the sample assignment. So I think that's about it. So I'm going to post this video, and hopefully if you have any other questions on it, let me know. Send me an email or post in the general course discussion area. That way everybody can see what you're posting, right, when it comes to the group project. So hopefully you guys, this is helpful to you. We really do want to help you. We don't want to confuse you. And I'm one for keeping it very simple as we can. Okay, and you can see how simple this project can be. It doesn't have to be onerous, right? If you're spending like a bajillion hours on it and you're getting frustrated, don't do that, because this is supposed to be a nice, easy little thing to do, okay? And I really hope the video helps. And like I said, I try to go into all those discussion boards daily, see what you're posting, how you're feeling, how you're doing, okay? So you guys just make sure you're working okay in your groups, and if there's any issues or problems, you can email me privately, and if there's something that you want to share with the entire group or the entire class, you can post it in your course discussion area. So I hope you found it helpful, and you guys have a good day.